Today we're taking a look at these college basketball matches, which are happening on Friday, March 24, 2023, and giving you our team and total picks for today. Welcome back to High Stakes. Before we dive into our video, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and make sure to watch it till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. Also check out our Patreon if you want access our premium picks. Our Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. You will find the link in description and comment section below. One more thing before we start, check out our new channel High Stakes Props and Parlays, where you can find our player props and parlay picks predictions. You will find the link in the description and comment section below. San Antonio Spurs vs Washington Wizards. Neither one of these teams are playing good basketball right now, and both teams have some key players who are listed as questionable. But even if Beal and Kuzma don't play, the Wizards are still good enough to beat the Spurs, especially at home. Plus, this is pretty much a must-win for the Wizards if they want to make the play-in tournament, so a loss here would really hurt any chances they still have. The Wizards have been a terrible bet as of late, as they have lost 8 of their last 10 against the spread, but the Spurs have been a bad net too. Take the Wizards here, as they are home and have more to play for. San Antonio is 5th with respect to pace of play entering this interconference showdown with the Wizards. They turn the ball over a ton, bottom 5 in turnover percentage. Washington will not have Kyle Kuzma here, but they will get plenty of opportunities for easy buckets, as the Spurs are merely going through the motions toward the end of the year. The Spurs are also last in defensive rating and are opting to sit a lot of their supporting cast in an effort to, be even worse than they currently are. Take the over in a poorly played defensive game from San Antonio. Take the over. Indiana Pacers vs Boston Celtics. Going to jump out on a limb here and take the Pacers to cover their spread in this one. This is a fairly large spread being in the double digits, and the Pacers have a history of coverage in these situations. Statistically, nothing really jumps off the page for the Pacers, with the Celtics outranking them in a majority of categories and having an edge in most aspects. However, that is not the point. It doesn't take a genius to tell you the Celtics are better than the Pacers. What makes this interesting is the fact that the Pacers have covered in their past 4 games on the road against a team with a winning record, and when these teams have faced off in the past, the Pacers have covered in their past 4 overall meetings and in 4 of their past 5 meetings in the Garden. The Pacers also covered this spread earlier on in the season when they lost 142-138 in overtime at home to the Celtics, covering their plus 7.5 spread. The public is on the Celtics, but the trends are pointing toward the Pacers. Our team pick is Pacers plus 11.5 points. Taking the over in this matchup for a couple of reasons. This game screams over, take it as you may, but both the trends and the statistics indicate this game is going over. Let me start by saying this, when these teams face off they have gone over in 4 of their past 5 meetings, with their most recent game being earlier this season, in which they went 46.5 points over their total set at 233.5, with a final score of 142-138 in favor of the Celtics. Besides that, the Pacers have gone over in their past 6 road games against a team with a winning home record and in their past 4 games against a team with a winning record. Meanwhile, the Celtics have gone over in their past 4 games following a win by 10 or more points, in 4 of their past 5 games against a team with a losing record, and in 13 of their past 17 home games against a team with a losing road record. Given these teams' history and their trends, I am confident in taking the over for this matchup. Our total pick is over. Detroit Pistons vs Toronto Raptors. The Detroit Pistons came into this year expecting to build on Cade Cunningham's excellent rookie campaign. Unfortunately, he went down with a season-ending injury just a few months into the year, and it has been downhill for the tanking Pistons ever since. The Pistons, 16-57, have lost 15 of 16 and have the worst record in the league. At this point in the year, it is impossible to trust them in any game. Jalen Duren, cervical whiplash, did not play against Atlanta, nor did Isaiah Livers, and the Pistons will be wise not to rush any of them back, considering they are trying to lose games. Toronto is fighting for playoff seeding and will come to play at home and destroy the Pistons from start to finish. Take Toronto. Our team pick is Toronto Raptors minus 12.5 points. Toronto lost a brutal game that they desperately needed against the Indiana Pacers, and their next opponent will be the unfortunate victim. Detroit will trot out one of the worst lineups in the NBA, and the Raptors can get an easy win and put the defensive clamps down. Toronto is 25th in pace of play, and they will dictate the tempo. They also hold the lowest turnover percentage in the NBA, so Detroit's second chance opportunities and easy buckets will be few and far between. Detroit comes in 28th in offensive rating, and they will once again look lifeless as the end of the season comes closer. Take the under. Houston Rockets vs Memphis Grizzlies. This is all about identifying value as these teams get set to meet for the second game in a row. Houston covered as a 12-point underdog on Wednesday, so many bettors are going to be surprised that the line is 1.5 points larger on Friday. However, Memphis was playing without Brooks in the first matchup, and Morant was playing for the first time in weeks. Brooks will return from his one-game suspension on Friday, and Morant should be in better form after knocking off the rust. The Grizzlies have won 10 straight home games and have won 8 of the last 9 meetings between these teams. Our team pick is Memphis minus 13.5 points. The total has finished over in 2 of the 3 games played between the two this season. The total has finished over in 4 of the Grizzlies' last 5. As mentioned previously, Houston is 27th in points allowed at 118.3 points per game, and Memphis is 10th in points scored at 116.2 points per game. Our total pick is over. Charlotte Hornets vs Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks have not fared well against the spread this season, but even with their recent struggles are 4-1-1 against the spread in their last 6 games. This is a huge game for Dallas because if they don't take care of business, they will be putting themselves in a bad spot with 5 straight road games on deck. The Hornets have nothing to lose in this spot, which makes them a little dangerous, but they also have nothing to gain. The Hornets will be playing for the second time in 2 days and are 6-10-1 when they are at a rest disadvantage. No official line was posted at the time of this prediction, but I recommend backing a Dallas team with its back against the wall at home against an inferior opponent. Our team pick is Dallas Mavericks to cover. Dallas is in a tight playoff race to be a part of the Western Conference's play-in game. The Mavericks are currently 36-37, which is 9th in the West, but is tied with the Los Angeles Lakers for 10th and only a half game up on both the Utah Jazz and New Orleans Pelicans, who are 11th and 12th place. Dallas is currently 22-15 at home, but on a 2-game losing skid, while averaging 113.9 ppg and allowing 113.4 ppg. The Mavericks have been led by Luka Doncic, who's averaging 32.9 ppg, Kyrie Irving is averaging 28.4 ppg, Christian Wood is averaging 17.3 ppg, and Tim Hardaway Jr. who's chipping in with 14 ppg. Charlotte is set to be on a back-to-back as the Hornets are in New Orleans to play the Pelicans before heading to play the Mavericks on Friday. Before the back-to-back, Charlotte is coming off a 115-109 win over the Indiana Pacers in a game. The Hornets outscored Indiana 30-21 in the fourth quarter to get the win. Charlotte was led by Kelly Oubre Jr. who had 28 points, Terry Rozier had 23 points, Gordon Hayward had 22, Nick Richards had a double-double with 14 points and 17 rebounds, and PJ Washington had 10 points. I also like the under in this one, especially with Charlotte on a back-to-back. The Hornets are 41-32 in hitting the under this season, while on a back-to-back, Charlotte is 4-7. Dallas, however, has been worse in hitting the under, as the Mavericks are 33-39 in hitting the under. But this season, the Hornets are playing at a pace of 103.4, which ranks 9th, but their offensive efficiency ranks 106.9, which ranks 29th. Dallas, meanwhile, likes to slow the game down, as the Mavericks play at a pace of 98.4, which ranks 29th, and with Charlotte on a back-to-back, I also expect the Hornets to play at a much slower pace. Finally, in Charlotte's last 5 games, the games are averaging 220.6 ppg, while Dallas's last 5 are averaging 230 ppg, but that includes a 137-128 OT game, so if you take that out, the Mavericks' last 4 are averaging 221.2 ppg. Our total pick is under.